Professor Pei, please take the floor.
Thank you for the invitations. I'm Kurtis Pei, coming from Taiwan. I have a long history that working together with my respected Japanese scientists, many of them in this room today. And thank you, and old friends, and I see new comers. So welcome, young generations. I will give you a brief of the history of the larger mammals conservation and management in Taiwan. I just retired from the university last year, so I spent 34 years teaching in the university since 1990s, focused on wildlife population ecology and management and conservation. So I know a little bit about what's happening in Taiwan in the past. So I can introduce you some of our achievements and issues and problems that we are going to facing and need to be solved. Okay, this is in case you don't know where is Taiwan. Taiwan is just south of Japan, very close. Actually, you can swim from Okinawa to Taiwan. And Taiwan is is an island that not as large as Japan, but it's quite in size. And we have, it's a big mountain island and lots of volcanoes in the past, not now. And we have two major mountain range. One is Central Mountain Range. The highest peak is 4,000 meters above the sea level, which is the highest mountain in East Asia. And more than 100 peaks above 3,000 meters above the sea level. And next to the Central Mountain Range is a parallel, is a much smaller and the lower mountain range. This is the Coastal Mountain Range. And the highest peak on the Coastal Mountain Range is only 1,500 meters. So it's much lower and much narrower than the big Central Mountain Range. And we do have a history of unsustainable use of wildlife resources. 300 years ago, Dutch colonial governments that explore sika deer, or including other deers, but mainly sika deer's resources, and they export the sika deer's the skin and their guts, internal gut, and mainly skin to Japan here, and the internal guts is to the south coastal China areas today, and well, people believe that the short term but serious exploitations of the sika deer resources back then caused the extinction of the sika deer later on. The last wild-born sika deer was believed killed in 1969. After that, we don't have any wild sika deer in Taiwan, but we still have back then quite a few sika deer in the sika deer farms. So after 1985, in 1985, the government of Taiwan initiated sika deer recovery plans, and many of the scientists in Taiwan, in Japan, knows that project about sika deer. So the sika deer recover in the recovery areas since 1985 until today. The population is growing. And another period of harvesting is during the Japanese colonial periods. Young generations here knows that there is a time that Japan controlled Taiwan. It's 100 years ago, okay? So during that period, 50 years, Japanese control Taiwan, that the Japan overexploitations of the carnivorous skin happened. Okay, so it likely caused the extinction of the clouded leopard here. This is a clouded leopard, and have the black bear and the leopard cat become endangered back then. So and also the otters. The skins of black bear and the leopard cat and the otters export to Europe mainly back then, and North American also. Okay. Now, in the contemporary eras, that after World War II, that Taiwan the situation in Taiwan changed after World War II, and in 1949, the present government of Taiwan started to control Taiwan and implement the Hunting Act for sports and the recreational hunting. So it's pretty much like in Japan. Hunting management, wildlife management is very much like in Japan today and in North America today, that hunting is the major management to the wildlife resources. In 1973, due to the firearm control necessary, and the government suspend Hunting Act. So no hunting after 1973. The whole country become hunting free after 1973, according to the law. However, this never happened, luckily. So the hunting actually in the mountain areas, in the rural areas, continue during this no hunting period. So 1989, the Wildlife Conservation Act replaced Hunting Act. So the Hunting Act was not only suspended, but also deleted and replaced by the Wildlife Conservation Act. And since that time, the wildlife management of Taiwan start a new eras. And other than wildlife conservation become a major issues, that hunting continue controlled according to the Wildlife Conservation Act. Only indigenous ritual hunting was allowed according to the wildlife conservation law. Okay, no other huntings allowed. Only indigenous ritual hunting was approved specifically according to the law. And in 2004, the indigenous hunting regulation, Article 21 of the Wildlife Conservation Act, was further extended to in larger areas. So indigenous people allowed to hunt in most forests in Taiwan after 2004. But the management per se is poor. Okay, as I just mentioned, that although after 1973, Hunting Act was suspended by the government, but hunting active never stopped after 1973. And there were a big commercial market for wildlife meat, game meat, in 1980 to mid-1990, approximately 1995, 1996, that you can still go into a game meat restaurant in rural Taiwan and enjoy game meat. And and also at this time, we also have an over-exploitation of pangolin skin. The leather of the pangolins export to other countries for leather productions, and cause a sharp decline of Formosan pangolin in this period, 1980 to 1990. And the flying fox also become endangered in Taiwan due to the domestic pet market, which is illegal. We never have legal pet market for wildlife. And also many larger mammals, they were consumed in the game meat restaurant I just mentioned. And it is a domestic game restaurant market, and so strong and make many species of larger mammals decline. The population declined, and some of them become endangered. And those population declined, including monkeys, macaques, and Simba deer, muntjac, sorrel, and black bear, because of the delicious, dedicated food market, and which illegal. Okay, so this gives you an idea of how the wildlife management or conservation in Taiwan, that although we do have the legal support from the law, but we don't have good actions, we don't have good management to implement the law. So although we banned hunting, but we never stopped the hunting. And although we banned commercial use of wildlife, but we never stopped that back then. Now, after 1989, I will say that the biggest contribution or achievement of Wildlife Conservation Act initiated in 1989 is to stop the market. There's the game market, game restaurant market declined sharply. And this Wildlife Conservation Act pretty much covers all kind of species, wildlife, vertebrates, invertebrates, all included. So, which make this act covers very wide species, very wide, almost complete animal diversity is in charge and responsible by this act. And there are two categories of the wildlife in this law, in this act. One is protected species, listed species, protected by the act. And another is general wildlife, which is according to the act that we still need to conserve them, but not necessarily protect them individually. But for this protected species, that it will be protected individually, including endangered species, rare and valuable species, mostly domestic endemic species. The species only occur in Taiwan, and other conservation-deserved wildlife, usually those species that catch the attentions by the public. Okay, now, sorry, I cannot see that. Okay, the present status and the conservation of endangered species. So I will focus, I will give you some idea about that, what we did for the endangered species, and some good news, and some still that worried. These are, I will give you some examples of the, I give you the examples of all the mammals. Sorry for that, because that I'm a mammologist, and I know only mammals. So these are 6 endangered mammal species in Taiwan. One is clouded leopard, although it could be extinct. but it's still listed as an endangered species. And it haven't been observed in at least more than 80 years. No observations, no confirmed records for at least 80 years. But who knows? There are species disappears for more than 100 years in other countries and observed again, right? So it can be still some individual left in Taiwan, but we don't know. But personally, this is a highly endangered or could be extinct species. And otters, another endangered species, completely gone from Taiwan, but still exist in Quemoy Island. Anybody heard Quemoy? Jingmen? Never heard. That's an island of Taiwan, but it's very, very close to China. And so there are still exist on this particular islands. And flying fox, as I just mentioned, that the local pet market, illegal pet market, caused the extinctions of flying fox from the only existing islands, green islands, east of Taiwan, 50 years ago. And leopard cat, another species that become very bad situations after Japanese occupations. Lots of the skin of the leopard cat export to Europe and North America at that time. And black bear, Meisho Huang will give you more details on black bear later. And dolphin, the white dolphin, Taiwan humpback dolphins, which is local endemic subspecies of Chinese humpback dolphin, exists only on the east coast of Taiwan, and which is highly endangered as well. So what happened to them? Clouded leopards, and they are most important in the past. There must be the most important keynote species to the broadleaf forest ecosystems, lower than 3,000 meters in elevation. Actually, they prefer lower elevation forest, broadleaf forest, and they are culturally important to two indigenous tribes, the ethnic groups, two, in the southern Taiwan. One is Paiwan and one is Lukai. You can see the headpiece of Taiwan and the Lukai decorated by the skulls. These are two skulls. I pointed out two skulls of clouded leopard. Sorry for that, and canine tooth of clouded leopard. These are quite common in the higher ranking families of these two ethnic groups in southern Taiwan. And this is another decorations you will see that is a vest of the clouded leopard skin, and front and the back. On the back, you will see the whole skin, and in the front, you will see that the whole skin will be cut into half. Okay, so it's a vest that the higher ranking members will wear this vest during the ceremony, also during the negotiations or the combat with others. And they are culturally important. And this is pictures of elders, high-ranking elders wear the vest. Okay, they, as I just mentioned, they likely went extinct decades ago, probably 80 or even more than 100 years. There are reintroduction proposals proposed by several groups or several scientists in Taiwan that to introduce clouded leopards from Southeast Asia. They are same species, and bring them back and re-establish the wild population of clouded leopard in southern Taiwan. Flying fox, they existing on the coastal forest of now northern Hualien counties and the small islands, Guishan, Turtle Mountain Island of the Yilan County. That's the present existing locations of this species, flying fox. It used to exist here. Sorry for that. This is the Green Islands of the east coast of Taiwan. That they used to have a stable population on the Green Island here. Sorry for that. Before 1990s, but as I mentioned, that the domestic pet market consume all of them, and now they exist only in these two spots, and their numbers probably increasing slowly, with a couple hundred individuals at present, from a very, very small numbers on these islands. Okay. It's now estimated a couple of hundreds of them exist in these two spots. And so it could be increasing slowly. And active recovery plan is required to expand the population back to their historical range of the Green Islands. We don't have a plan to do that yet, but I think when the number of the flying fox increasing in these two spots, that we might see them occupied on Green Island again in the near future. Oh, I did point that out, sorry for that. And the next species will be otter. As I just mentioned, that they only exist on Quemoy Island here. I pointed out. This is a small island outside of, it just is on the east coast of China, very far away from Taiwan. And this is the only place that we have the otters. And no otters on Taiwan since maybe 100 years ago or 80 years ago. And they only exist in Quemoy Island, the Jinmen Islands that off the Fujian coast of China. And presently, most likely is a single but stable population with a couple of hundred individuals on Quemoy Islands. The population is stable in the past 10 to 15 years, that it could be a population that very close to the carrying capacity of Quemoy Islands. That's why that the number didn't increase continuously in the past 10 years. A couple hundreds individual estimate on the islands and quite stable. Carrying capacity limitation maybe is the reason why they cannot continue increase their numbers because the limitation of the Quemoy Islands space. So re-establish population into wetland land in Taiwan is proposed. Some propose that because the situation of Taiwan in lowland, wetland, in low elevations is improving in past 20 years. Many places could accept the otters to have re-establish their populations. So it is possible that the reintroduction of the otter in Taiwan can expand the populations. The black bears that Mei Xiu will give you more story about black bear later, so I will be quick. That it is on the central mountain range, but there are occasionally records on the coastal mountain range. So it could be individuals that just get lost. And sorry for that. Mei Xiu will give you more accurate estimation of the present populations that can be a couple of thousand, a couple of hundreds, less than 1,000, right? No, you will correct me later. So don't mark these numbers now. You listen to Mei Xiu Huang later. And the population can be stable or even increasing in several locations in the lower elevation in the eastern coast, eastern central mountain range. And active recovery plan is required to further increase the population, and the potential, the bear-human conflicts should not be ignored at present status. Mei Xiu will tell you more. Although we don't have cases of human injured cases in Taiwan, human injured cases, but it is necessary to be looked after carefully. The last species will be leopard cat. This is the leopard cat, and sorry, I lost track of my time. I lost track of my time, sorry for that. 10 minutes? Okay, 10 minutes, okay. Sorry for that. And the leopard cat, presently it exists only in these areas with blue dots. In the history, during the Japanese scientists described leopard cat as a common species, island-wide distribute common species. So whole islands, low elevations, common species 100 years ago during the Japanese occupation eras. However, presently it only exists in these areas and with the blue dots. And less than 600 individuals left, and likely separate into two poorly connected populations. Here, one north population, and here is one south population. There could be disconnections between these two populations. And recent research indicates the genetic diversity of the southern population is poor. The diversity is poorer than the north population, which is reasonable because north population is more numbers, 350 animals in this northern part of the population. And the south population is much smaller. It's only 100 to 200 individuals. So the genetic diversity is much, much lower in this south population. And it is stable or even slowly increasing due to the active conservation program initiated by the government and the public in the past 10 years. This is especially that the social habitat turned from negative to positive. In the past, farmers in these areas, they treat leopard cat as a pest species. They always say that leopard cat will kill their chicken, will eat their chicken. So they don't like leopard cat in the past. But in the past 10 years, there's a big shift from negative social attitude or perspective from negative to more positive now. So there's a change of the social environment toward leopard cat. And this is already good enough for leopard cat increase their numbers because the negative social perspective apparently that is not good for the leopard cat because farmers don't like them, very negative on them in the past. Okay, and so in the past 10 years that we observe a slowly and stable situations, and the active recovery still should include promotion of environmental friendly farming and the management of free-ranging dogs, because these are two big enemies today. The farming activity in Taiwan, the farmers use a lot pesticide and herbicide. And this pesticide and the herbicide become environmental toxic and poisoned and directly will kill the leopard cat. And feral dog or free-ranging dog, actually not necessarily feral dog, free-ranging dogs, they running around and killed many leopard cat. So these are two major enemies to leopard cat. So we believe that the pesticide, herbicide use, if it can decrease in the future, and also the free-roaming dogs can be controlled, then the population of leopard cat will increase more. And the public support, especially by the rural residents, and the positive social habitat will be important, as I just mentioned, the turn, and we need more support from the public. And the leopard cat can grow by themselves, apparently. So as long as we provide a good habitat, the population can grow. So population re-establishment into historical range of the leopard cat is also proposed. Apparently that the present distribution is not good enough to have a whole recovery of the leopard cat in Taiwan. So we propose, well, some propose that we should try as much as possible that the expansion of the present population north and south, northward and the southward, and also maybe actively bring some individuals to these locations to re-establish their local populations, so that it can increase their numbers faster and sooner to have them to become non-extinction. Okay. Oh, sorry, this is the last one. The humpback dolphin, also known as white dolphin, and because their color is white, and this is their present distribution range. Is very, very narrow coastal water and very limited north and the south distribution boundaries. And the distribution only in shallow waters along the coastal line, and is extremely restricted in their distributions. Their numbers is even sad than other endangered species. Now is 50 to 65 individuals left, and it's still decreasing, which is very, very bad news. It's still decreasing, and not much be done. Entangling in fishing gears, habitat loss and habitat deterioration are key threat to their survivals, especially the first one, the fishing gears entangling, cause many, many injuries and death every year. And the massive development of wind farms, the so-called green energies off the West Coast introduce new threat to them, the noise, especially the noise caused due to the windmills. And the ban on gills and the trimon nets in the white dolphin habitat is the most important actions for the recovery of the population. We are trying to stop the decreasing, not even recovery. We are even difficult to stop decreasing. And offshore wind farms, companies jointly with the government develop program to eliminate gill net and trimon nets is necessary, which means that we probably need to compensate the fishermen. And so they stop using the net to catch fish in white dolphin habitat. Okay? It is very important actions, but so far there not much action yet. Okay? So I give you some the examples of the endangered species, and some of them with good news, and some of them not good yet. Okay, I think the Wildlife Conservation Act needs to be improved so that the actions can be taken to help endangered species. Specifically, I believe that something like in Japan and in US, the Endangered Species Act, that require the government take suitable and effective measurements to have increase the number of endangered species in certain period of time. Okay, this is not in Taiwan. This is not the part of Wildlife Conservation Act in Taiwan yet. And I believe this will be necessary. So the government has to take measurements to recover, to increase the number of endangered species. Now, lastly, sorry for that. And there are, other than endangered species, there are many other species in Taiwan. Many of them increasing their number after 1989, the implementations of Wildlife Conservation Act. And I give you examples like pangolin, muntjac, cicadere, and monkey, macaques, and the sorrel, and the samba deer. And Professor Wong will give you more details on the samba deer, so I will be brief. I believe that the present ongoing progress between Taiwanese government and the indigenous people is going to be helpful in those species control or management, not necessarily control, but management. The self-governance of indigenous hunting in Taiwan is initiate that in Taiwan just only 10 years ago. And here, this is the indigenous people's distribution today in Taiwan, and they pretty much occupy the mountain areas, especially the central mountain areas, that indigenous people. And they are in small communities, 700 to 800 communities, small communities, along, spread out in these big mountains. And each community has their own territories, and each community has their own hunting grounds within their territories for hundreds to thousands of years. So this has been established for a long time before Chinese government came to Taiwan. And in 1916, 10 years ago, that the government, the President Tsai Ing-wen represent the government, apologized to the indigenous people about their mistreated in the past 100 years. So after that apologies, the government of Taiwan start to quickly respond and start to change their behavior and their relationships with indigenous people quickly. This including the Forest Bureau, which is the central government agencies responsible for the wildlife resources management. And in 2017, the Forest Bureau initiated a series of the collaborations project together with the indigenous communities to manage local wildlife resources. And we believe this will be a major that changes of the wildlife management in Taiwan for so many years. So I'll give you one example. The Zhou ethnic groups, they are in the central Taiwan, and this is the Zhou groups, and they live in the mountains. Oh, timed up? Okay. So in short, no, sorry for that. In short, I would say that at present, that the wildlife management is the responsibility of the central government. So the central government implement the law, and there's only one law to manage all the wildlife in Taiwan. And in the futures, if we collaborate with the local indigenous communities, it is possible that, as I just mentioned, that each communities, they have their own territories. If they can manage the wildlife resources in their own territories, and then we will have a complete different kind of management, but covers the whole areas of wildlife distribution areas. And this would be possible. And so if the Zhou start the initiation of Zhou can make good examples of this kind of collaborations, that this can be the first cases and can be most important cases, then that we can create a new eras of wildlife management in Taiwan with the collaborations with the local indigenous communities. Thank you very much.